Alright guys, welcome back. Hey, I've got another game of Wargame European Escalation for you, and this was a multiplayer game that I played earlier tonight. And this one really just kind of focuses on why you shouldn't spam, all the same units. Let me go ahead and get it started here. We'll go ahead and load it up. Let's see here. This was played on Airfield. This was a 4,000 point game. It was a 1v1. Fairly large map here. We started off as or not started off, but we started as the Warsaw Pact here. So this is, all the Russian units, Czechoslovakian, East German, and Polish units. And like I said, this was a 4,000 point game, so we each had 4,000 points to distribute, during our armies here. Let me go ahead and hit play here. My objective for this game was to get Kilo. I wanted something close to his deployment zones. So as you can see, Kilo, it's a really good defensible position here. There's lots of woods, lots of buildings for the infantry. You get infantry in this type of environment, and they become very, very hard troops to dislodge. As well as that's a 2-point capture, so that's going to help out a little bit. And I also wanted to grab Bravo. I wasn't too worried about, trying to hold on to Alpha, just because it was so far on the other side of the map. I knew going into this map, as you can see, both players, the NATO player starts in Lima, and the Warsaw Pact player starts in India. That is, if you don't move, your FOB or your command vehicle. But I knew that ahead of time, just from playing this map before, exactly where the deployments were going to start from. And I think this guy was... my opponent here, he was level 7, but he kind of played like a noob, and you're going to see how it all plays out. But yeah, so my objectives for this game was to hold Bravo, India, and Kilo. That would give me a total of 4 command points trickling in, and 3 deployment zones. So we're going to hit start here as we build up our forces. And I'm going to leave it on neutral so you can see what this guy does, what kind of army this guy fields. 4,000 points is a lot of points per person. And I actually only managed to get... I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. I actually managed only to get half of my points used before the game starts. This guy went ahead and hit start. Now look at this. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause here. This is what he's done. He's just spammed out units. He's got, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 Gazelles with cannons, okay? 16 light attack helicopters here, okay? And then he's got 20, or excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm sorry, 24 artillery pieces. And we'll turn units on here. He's going to try to spam me with artillery and choppers. And he gets some more spam in here. I think he gets a bunch of leopards, yeah. He's spamming the leopards, spamming the flak panzers. And he doesn't really do anything else. You would think that with this vast amount of points, like me, my game plan was, I think I've got like 3 command vehicles. I want to capture these command points and give myself options and resources. He's trying to go for the quick win. He's thinking, hey, you know what? I'm just going to, go balls out. I'm just going to shell the shit out of my opponent and then try to get him with overwhelming force. And it works horrible for him. Now, I'm going to pause it again, and if you look here what he does, he ends up buying units, and this is something I don't do, and I don't recommend that you do it. With these recon units here, there's no need to put 4 of them in each group. I mean, really, there's not. It's just a waste of points. They're 35 points a pop. For recon, I usually, at the most, put 2 per recon group, just because there's really no point in that many. They're not that great if you look at the stats here. So I don't know what he's thinking there. He's just kind of blowing points. But, hey, whatever. His army, and it ends up being his loss. So as you can see here, I'm building up my forces. So far, I've got 2 BRDMs, 2 U's. These are my command vehicles. I'm going to send 1, obviously, to Kilo, like I said. My UAZ 469 Bravo. I've got him hidden in the woods back here. He's going to stay in India and hold that. And then my other BRDM is going to go over to Bravo and cap that. I've also picked up some Zeus anti-aircraft. Just always take anti-aircraft in this game. I've learned that the hard way, so I always pack a lot of anti-air. So you can see I've got 3 groups of 4 Zeuses each. In these 2 MI8s, I've got some Czechoslovakian Special Forces. I can't remember the exact name, but they'll show up later. And these guys actually, you're going to see what I do with these guys, and it works out really well. And I upgraded their transports to carry rockets. And, you know, when you're taking infantry and helicopters, you might as well buy the helicopters with weapons, because if you don't, those helicopters just kind of become unarmored scouts, at least in my experience. And so with these, it's nice because I end up using them as support. And again, you're going to see that. Now, I only take 4 artillery pieces. I take 4 of these Mistas. And these guys do outstanding. They've got great accuracy, a lot of HE power, and a lot of rounds. And I park them right next to my fob, so they're going to get continuously resupplied ammo-wise from the fob here. We're going to hit play again here as we get more units in. I'm going to go speed it up a little bit. I start taking some BTRs. Again, this is just with regular troops. And you can see I'm starting to drop my tanks. I love these BMP 685s. These are cavalry tank prototypes. They've got a big gun, 100mm cannon, main gun. It's got good range, great accuracy. The AP power's, you know, kind of mid-range, but you know what? It's all right because you're accurate. And unless you're going up against tanks, you know, like the Abrams or, you know, like the Super Pattons, these lightweight cavalry tank prototypes, these BMP 685s, will chew through armor. On the flip side of that, they're not very well armored. They do have a lot of fuel, so they don't run out of gas too quickly, and they're fast. I also take, because I have the points to do it, you know, again, this was a 4,000 point game. I took some T-72 Bravos. These, next to the T-80s, these are the best tanks that the Warsaw Pact can field in this game. And as you can see, they've got great front side armor. It's up on a 7 and the sides 5. They also have the ATGMs, anti-tank guided missiles, the Severe. Great accuracy, great armor penetration, and each tank carries 4. So in this group of 4, I've got 16 anti-tank missiles. Great range, almost 2,500 meters. Their main guns is great as well. Doesn't have the best accuracy, it's above average, but the armor penetration is decent. It's up at a 9, and they've got a stabilizer as well, so they can shoot on the move. Oh, I'm sorry, no, not these guys. These guys actually stabilize are bad, so they're not so great. So you want to put these guys in a stationary position, and you're going to see how that plays out here in a little bit. Okay, so he hit start. So again, you can see I don't have much fielded here, and I'm kind of freaking out. And in my BTRs here, you can see I've got some anti-tank troops. So what do? So, okay, what he did at the beginning, he shelled me with, he's thinking he's going to get a bunch of quick kills. He shelled me with all 20 of his artillery pieces here. And that's, you know, this big mess coming at me and starting to impact all around me here. And it actually worked out in my favor that I didn't have, you know, all my units up and going. Because, you know, India would have been full of units, and I'm sure I would have lost quite a bit. So as it is right now, I've got about 2,000 points left to spend on units. And it actually works. Once I capture Kilo, I end up dumping like the majority of that 2,000 points into pulling reinforcements straight here from Kilo and then bogging his units down. But as you can see at the start, as soon as I heard those guns fire, I started moving my units out. I started pushing up all my armor up here into Juliet, thinking that, oh man, he's going to rush me, and I'm going to have to meet this guy head on, face to face. So I've counter-fired with my Mistas, and you can see my rounds going out. It looks like he's pulling his Leopards over here towards Kilo. That's what he thinks he's going to do. I've moved all my airborne special forces here. They're over Kilo. And again, remember, you can't capture control points unless you have a command vehicle. And he continues shelling and just wasting all these shells. And so what I do is, I don't know where he's at. If we go to my view here, I don't know where his troops are at. I know that he's firing from the woods because you can see it, but I do see this smoke column right here. And I know something is coming. Something armored is coming, you know, across these fields. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my my troops here and I'm going to dump him in this field, because what I want to do is I want to pull his main force. I want to pull his attacking force over this way to give my units time to set up and get into Kilo. Now, as you can see here, my command vehicle is almost into the deployment zone. And once I get him into the deployment zone, that means I can start calling in reinforcements, which means I can start using that, you know, remaining 2,000 points to start flooding this area with troops. And let's go ahead and watch that happen. And as you can see, he's still firing. Now I've got my advanced army here. I'm not too worried about back here. He doesn't have line of sight, so he's just firing blind. So okay, I've got eyes on him now. We can see we're in my view. I can see this mass of Leopard tanks. Now these are cheap Leopards. He went for the cheap shit. He's got 4 Leopard 1A1s. Okay, these tanks are not great. All right, they have shitty accuracy, decent armor power or armor penetration, but their armor is below par. And my infantry here and my helicopters are going to chew them up. Let's go ahead and watch that happen. So again, remember, I want to pull his army over. See, he already brought his Gazelle back. He saw me, and he pulled his Gazelle back. Let's go to his view here. He knows my guys are here. And he's going to try to come and get me. Now look, this is why I said, you know, if you're going to have, you know, troops and choppers, get the ones that are armored. Because look at this. All these choppers are firing rockets, and they've stunned that advance. And this little battle that's going on right here, this is going to buy me time to get this army right here, small as it may be. I'm going to get behind him, and I'm going to just get him caught between, you know, this is Warsaw Pact, so between the proverbial hammer and the sickle. Okay? So all these nice Leopards he has for his armored advance, it's not going to pan out for him. And as you can see, I've taken Kilo, and I've taken Bravo, just as my plan from the very beginning. You know, when playing strategy games, I always try to formulate a plan and try to stick to the plan as much as possible. I know that things change and, you know, the battle is going to be fluid, but if I can try to implement my plan, if I can try to stick to what I want to do and not get carried away, I know I stand a good chance of winning. So as you can see, my army here is starting to get into range. My BMP 685s, my T-72s, and they're coming up behind and hitting these Leopards right in the rear end and just taking them out one by one. And remember, he had something like 20 Leopards. He's down to, you know, just a handful. And look, these troops here are still going. These are the Vestakari or whatever. They're Czechoslovakian troops. But let's take a look at their stats right quick. These are hardy troops, and they're cheap. They're 15 points. With the choppers, I think they come to 30 points. And look at it. Their assault rifle, it's good. They can hold their own against any other infantry. But what makes them great is that anti-tank weapon, that RPG 75 60mm heat round. It's about a 700-meter range, but they've got great accuracy, an accuracy of 8. It's above normal, and the armor penetration power is the AP power is 11, which again, that is outstanding for such a cheap troop type. I always try to take these guys now. And he brought in some flak panzers over here. And that's what chewed up my helicopters, but it's okay. Because I just decimated. Look at this nice little formation here. I've got my infantry out, my Fago infantry, and they're just blowing shit up. And I also started putting artillery rounds down here that was on that tank column. And there's not much he could have done about it. Now if we pause the game again and take a look at what he has left, he's got 4 Leopards, he's got all these artillery guns, and look, he doesn't have any supply over here. He doesn't have any, for the NATO, he doesn't have any Himmets or Jupiters resupplying these vehicles. They're going to run out of rounds fast. He's too far away from the FOB, and that's going to end up costing him. And he's got a bunch of flak panzers, but you know what? That's okay. Flak panzers are going to be no match for T-72 Bravos. And I've already started calling in my reinforcements. I've got 4 more T-72Bs, 4 T-72As. I've got some more anti-air because, you know, obviously I knew that he had a bunch of Gazelles when I spotted him over here. And then I'm calling in some BTRs. I think I get 4 groups of BTRs with Strela 3 anti-aircraft missiles. And we're going to get them set up in this town here in Kilo. And we're going to end up just holding it down. Now look at this. This was his artillery barrage. It didn't do much damage to me. Why? Because he didn't have line of sight. He was just firing indirectly, just wasting all those rounds, hoping to get, you know, a bunch of easy kills. And it didn't work out. Now he's got another mess of choppers up here, 6 more gazelles. So his artillery started hitting me, but because I have hard troops, all I get is, you know, stunned. I lose a couple vehicles here and there, but for the most part, I'm just stunned, which means I can't move, can't shoot. But they get out of this pretty much intact. I pull them back over to the town, and I set up some defensive lines here, and you guys are going to see that play out. And I'm just streaming in reinforcements. I've got more Hinds on the way. Look at that. 6 Hinds. I eventually call in some more Hinds down here at Bravo. But as it is right now, we're just getting set up. And you can see I've started pulling my forces out. I lost some of the infantry carriers, the APCs, and some of my infantry. But for the most part, my my armored fist here is still intact. I lost 1 BMP 685 out of, you know, that entire artillery barrage here. And I can't stress enough, if you've got the points, buy the T-72 Bravos. They're very good for their points cost. And look, he's bringing in more gazelles, and these are light choppers. You know, all they've got is 20mm guns. Not really that great. And look, here's another artillery barrage, artillery spam. And I lost another BMP 685, and that's okay. I don't mind. He's going to try to do this flak rush. Now, flak, or not flak, but anti-aircraft guns, like the flak Panzer here, depending on who you listen to on the forums, people say it's a little bit unbalanced because these flak Panzers can actually stun a bunch of units, even armored units like these tanks, just because of the amount of fire. They don't really get too much kills, they just stun. I don't see it as a problem if you've got, you know, what you need to counter it. It shouldn't be an issue. And let's see, let's go over here. You can see I've called in some more Hinds. I've got 4 more Hinds coming in on the left side. And I'm bringing in some more BMP 685s. Because I hold, you know, these 3 points, and he only has 1, I'm just earning resources here, where he isn't. And he just doesn't have the resources to fight this battle. I kind of sucker him in. I start pulling my troops back into the town. And, you know, he takes the bait. He's coming in here with flak Panzers. He should know that I have T-72s. And I just end up chewing these guys up. Let's go down here to treetop level here. And look, here's my artillery barrage. It's just a wall of fire. He's getting stunned by my artillery. My other T-72s coming into play. And he's just caught out in the open. He made some really, really poor choices. And he's bringing in some resources, but look, he's bringing in more flak Panzers. I don't understand what this guy was trying to do here. But, you know, hey, whatever, his loss. So I'm going to try to bring these Hinds around here and kind of flank him and cut off his supply line. They've got a ways to go. This battle here continues with artillery shelling and me shooting them with the tanks. Again, I pull my tanks back. Layered defense. I'm pulling them back, and he's taking the bait. He's coming right into my trap here. I've got layered defense. He obviously doesn't know what he's doing here. So I sucked him in by bringing him my tanks back, and thinking that he was winning that fight. And look, these T-72s are just shrugging off these 40mm rounds. Just shrugging it off, not a problem. Pull them back, continue to fire, suck them in, and then I'm going to kill them. And that's the name of the game. I've got another group of T-72s coming here, and then I'm going to push up my 685s. 685's got a big gun, and it's just going to ruin these flak Panzers' day. By this time, he's already taken the bait, and there's not much he can do about it. It's too late for him before he realizes. And he's trying. He's got another group of leopards here. He's brought in some martyrs, some Saracens. But again, it's not going to matter. And again, I brought these choppers from the right, these choppers from the left, and I'm going to cut his supply off. I also moved up some of my Zeuses. I'm trying to move them up here to these woods in Juliet. I think they get caught out in the open and get ripped up by these leopards. And, you know, I lose them, but, you know, it's all right. And here we go. I'm going to start picking apart his supply lines. I know he's got to be getting low on points because he only has, you know, one capture point here. And it's just, having one is not enough. Here we go. The Hinds doing their work with their 57mm rockets and the Flayetta guided missiles. And I've got these guys over here as well with the Flangellas. And as you can see, I'm starting to D up in here inside Kilo, just like I wanted to do in the first place. Brought in some more T-62s, some more BTRs with some Fago anti-tank infantry. He's got Leopards. He must have seen me here because he definitely pulled off. And he's going to try to engage my my Zeus there. I still have 6 choppers up here harassing his supply lines. And I believe my Zeus take out a couple of his choppers here before they finally get it. Look at this. Just harassing him. Just stalling his advance. And it's just a good example of how to correctly manage, you know, your units. And I accidentally clicked on this guy. I didn't want him to go out that far. I wanted him to stay in these woods. And they started getting shot at by this Leopard. It kind of works out in my favor because it kind of draws them, sucks them into the to the battle again. Got some more choppers. Look at that. 6 more Hinds. Or I'm sorry, 8 more Hinds. Ready to go. So, he took the bait once again. And my BMP 685 is getting ready to fire. Moving up my tanks over here. T-72s. And I'm going to push up my Strela infantry, just in case. And again, when you're in defensible position, it's really hard to dislodge units here. And then look, he's going to eat this. He doesn't realize I have a bunch of anti-aircraft sitting here, waiting. And there goes his choppers. All 6 of those Gazelles gone. And these here are actually the VPZU. They're special forces. Really good guys. As well as their vehicles have autocannons, which works out. I'm going to park my 8 Hinds right down here. And he makes one last push right down the middle. He pretty much knows that this fight is over. He moves his command vehicle out of Lima, which basically means he holds no points. He cannot call in any reinforcements. Not that he had the points to do it, the resource points. But, and he's just trying to make a push here. And look what he's got. He's got some lightweight stuff. He's got all his artillery guns here that are out of rounds, as you can see by the ammunition icon. He's got some Saracens with some, I'm not sure if these are blowpipe or if these are red eye or stinger infantry. But it's not going to matter. He's got a couple flak panzers. He's got 4 mortars, which it's not enough. Not against the armored fist of the Warsaw Pact stuck in Kilo. And you guys are going to witness this. And I know he's coming. And I'm getting ready to fire my artillery. And I'm going to catch him straight with his pants down. They're keying up the fire. 4 shots. And there's 4 more behind that. And he's got all of these units so bunched up. I mean, he's just marching to his death. And there's not much he can do about it. And it's just a massacre. Moving some more T-62s. I'm going to move them up here on the right side. I called in my supply. They resupplied quite a few of these guys. And it's just murder, death, kill in these woods outside of Kilo. It's just nothing you do. I'm going to go and pause it for a minute here. We'll take a stroll through the carnage of the army that was once, you know, a decent-sized NATO army here. I mean, they're just getting massacred. You've got anti-tank rockets coming from infantry. You've got anti-tank rockets coming, or missiles coming from the tanks. You've got tank rounds. You've got artillery firing on you. You've got 8 Hinds firing on you. It's just, this guy tried the spam tactic, and it did not work out for him at all. All of these are burning, flaming wrecks. You got a few infantry in there trying to hold out. They don't. And it's just a poor army decision on the NATO player's side. This shows you what not to do in Wargame European Escalation. Don't try to spam, you know, certain units, because it's not a good tactic at all. And we're going to go ahead and get down to unit level here. And we're just going to watch the carnage ensue. Alright, and that should be about game. You know, won that pretty easily. So yeah, that was the game. Just don't be like this guy. You know, play smart, have a plan, make good use of your resources, and have fun. That's the most important thing. Even though I knew, or you know, I decimated this guy, it was still a good game. And so yeah. Again, guys, if you pick up this game, let me know. We'll get some games together. I'll record them. You know, if you've got a mic, we can do a dual comp, talk about it. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time.